What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Week 11 NFL Main Slate Breakdown here on Sharp Sports Network. I'm your host, Joe Bewer, and I'm going to be breaking down a few of my favorite plays for this Week 11 NFL Main Slate. Going to be giving you a favorite play at each position and then leaving the rest for my private members. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. After a pretty terrible two showdown slates, back-to-back with the 49ers slate and then the Steelers slate, with both plagued with injuries. We had two players on our roster with injuries, and it just kind of ruined everything. We're looking at bounce back here with an incredible main slate. There's a bunch of plays that I'm very interested in. I'm going to give you a few of my favorite plays and then leave the rest for my members. So I'm going to give you a few of my favorite plays on each site. Let's first focus here on DraftKings. There is quite a bit of quarterback plays that you can go to. I know in the first look video I was super high on Dak Prescott, but I'm going to be fading Dak Prescott here today. Matthew Stafford is not expected to play. It really limits Dak Prescott's upside because I have a feeling this game is going to be very slow and more of a blowout. So I have more interest in the Dallas running back than I do in the quarterback-wide receiver pairing, as they're very expensive. So if this game was projected to be a shootout and it was going to be close, then I would have a lot more interest in Dak Prescott. So with that being said, if I were to pick my favorite quarterback, it's got to be probably Lamar Jackson here today. He's a very nice cash game quarterback. His floor is, we've pretty much seen his floor be around 28 with that rushing upside. Houston is going to be a solid matchup. The game's projected to be close. They have a terrible passing defense, so I expect Lamar Jackson to air it out today. Really hit, Marquise Brown, potentially Mark Andrews, and then leg it out for a few potentially rushing touchdowns. So Lamar Jackson at 7,700 makes a lot of sense. At running back, Ezekiel Elliott is a very, very solid play for me today. I think that they're going to get up very early in this game, and they're just going to pound the ball with Zeke for the rest of the game, making sure that he gets his 25, 27 touches. So I don't have a problem with Zeke here today. I think Christian McCaffrey's a little too overpriced. And then Dalvin Cook, why would you pay for Dalvin Cook when you can play $100 more for Zeke in a better matchup? So Zeke makes a lot of sense here today. But the number one running back today for me is going to be Josh Jacobs. He makes a lot of sense at 6.9K. Going up against Cincinnati, we've seen what's happened against Cincinnati when you just target running backs against them. It's just what you do. 32nd ranked in the league in rushing defense. Lamar Jackson even ran all over them for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So favorite running back play is going to be Josh Jacobs. Now, Marshawn Lattimore is going to be out for New Orleans here, so Tampa Bay's offense makes a lot of sense now in this game. So I don't mind Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Adam Thielen's also out, so Stephon Diggs makes a lot of sense. But for me, I'm probably going to be taking a deep dive down to some of these value plays for my members. I know Nick Foles is coming back. And such, but a safe cash game play would be Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans should get a significant amount of targets here. Like I said, Lattimore's out, so Mike Evans can really just target the outside while Chris Godwin's in the slot. Both of them make a lot of sense, but for $100, I'd rather take more upside. So I like Mike Evans here today. And then at tight end, this position is very thin. George Kittle's out, but they raised the price of his backup, Ross Dwelley, so he doesn't really make a lot of sense. Austin Hooper's out, and his backup isn't really going to get too much run that they've said. So I'd like to take a deeper dive down and go for somebody like Ryan Griffin. I think he's going to get a significant amount of targets. Chase Herndon's still out. We saw 2 double-digit performances. Chase Herndon comes back that week in Week 10 and kind of limits his upside. And then with that being said, defense-wise, we're going to have to pick and choose where we want to play defense. Jets make a lot of sense, and so do the Redskins. But Cardinals are abysmally priced on GPPs. I don't mind them as well. But for me, the Jets defense is going to make the most sense for me today. This is pretty much where I'm going to go in a lot of cash game builds. There's a few other quarterback plays that I like for cash games and a ton of wide receiver and running backs. For wide receiver, I'm a big fan of, like I said, Stephon Diggs. I think he's underpriced if Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw this game. Julio Jones is going to be a very popular option. And then like I said, Amari Cooper seems to be healthy, but I'm not too sure. If the game is going to be a shootout, then I would love to have Dak and Amari, but like I said, Matt Stafford down here is listed as out. So this just really limits the overall upside of that game in general. So like I said, my top cash game play would probably going to be Mike Evans for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think with Lattimore out, that just really takes Mike Evans' upside and puts him in this range here of 16 to 17 targets with 30 to 45 point upside. And then Lamar Jackson running all over the place with Josh Jacobs makes a lot of sense. Ryan Griffin and the Jets, these are just two value plays that I don't think you can really ignore. But yeah, I'll leave the rest of the value plays and sneaky cash game plays for my members. Let's jump over here to FanDuel, where I think the pricing is a little bit too high on Lamar Jackson, so I would probably rather play Drew Brees over here on FanDuel. I like him in a soft matchup against a terrible passing defense. I think that he makes a lot of sense over here on FanDuel. Josh Jacobs doesn't make as much sense as Zeke does over here on FanDuel. They have him priced up so high. So I like Zeke on FanDuel. I do like Zeke on DraftKings, but like I said, if you don't want to pay out for running back, you don't have to. So I do like Zeke over here on FanDuel. And then over here, the pricing is a little bit abysmal. So I like Michael Thomas if you can pay out for him. I think you can pay out for him here on FanDuel. With tight end plays very low. Like I said, Ryan Griffin is priced down at 4.8K. He makes a lot of sense. And then the defense, you can play the Jets defense at 4.5K. You're leaving yourself at 6.2K, which is very, very much enough room to pay up. You can play Leonard Fournette. Tevin Coleman's going to be a popular play with Matt Breida out. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Ronald Jones should probably be popular again. I expect Alvin Kamara to be fairly popular as well. But I think you can pay for Michael Thomas over here on FanDuel. I don't want to play him on DraftKings at almost 10K. He's 600 away from Christian McCaffrey's price. Over here, he's 1,500 away. It's a little more easy to play Michael Thomas, Zeke, and Drew Brees over here on FanDuel. I think it makes a lot of sense. As far as wide receivers go over here, I don't really have too much interest in a lot of these lower tier guys. Maybe Zach Pascal, but that game's going to be slow. No interest in Christian Kirk. And then, like I said, the only person I would probably go with is maybe Deebo Samuel just because of Emmanuel Sanders being out. So Deebo Samuel makes a decent amount of sense. Now, over here on Fantasy Draft, I think that you play Lamar Jackson over here because the pricing is so close. They have Josh Allen's price hiked up above Dak Prescott, which is actually quite interesting. And Deshaun Watson is at 12.1K below Derek Carr. It doesn't make any sense. I actually think you play Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson. I'm going to do Deshaun Watson just for the sake of this video. And then, like I said, Josh Jacobs and Ezekiel Elliott are 3,000 difference over here, so I think you play Josh Jacobs for sure over here. You can play Zeke, and then I think you play DeAndre Hopkins. I think all of these top receivers are in a solid place over here on Fantasy Draft. The pricing is just so weird over here on Fantasy Draft. I think you can play somebody like Hopkins and Mike Evans. Makes a lot of sense. And then you can play Ryan Griffin. Again, I think Ryan Griffin's going to be a popular play. He just makes a lot of sense at a 5.7K price tag over here. And then defense, you can get the Jets at 5.6K, and you're left 11K left to fit the rest of your lineup. A bunch of plays on here. Mohamed Sanu makes a lot of sense. Running back plays that you can play. You can pay up. Alvin Kamara is going to make a lot of sense today. Check down game, even though Tampa Bay's defense is super stout against the run. So that makes a lot of sense. But for cash games, it's probably going to be Drew Brees, Deshaun Watson, or Lamar Jackson. I like that Houston-Baltimore game for quarterback upside. For running backs, for me right now, it's just Zeke and Josh Jacobs. There's some other value plays at running back that I'm going to talk about for my members. And then for wide receiver, I really like Mike Evans today. I like DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, if you can pay for him on certain sites. And then, like I said, tight end for me has just got to probably be Ryan Griffin. I think he has a ton of upside. I do have another tight end play, but I'll leave that for my members as well. And then, like I said, the Jets defense makes a lot of sense here today. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed this video and it helped you find a core that works for you on cash games. If you're a member, stay tuned for the private roster construction video that I will be putting out here in a second that will show you how to build your lineups. Peace out. Good luck to everybody, and I will see you on Sunday night for the Sunday Night Football breakdown. Peace.